Hey everyone, so on this episode of Make It with Calvin, I want to pitch to you guys why I still think filament printing has a role in 3D printing for model trains, especially for lower fidelity parts like this. So let's dive into it. So in short, this part is getting mailed out tomorrow as of the time of filming. But this is just a very simple cosmetic cover for a stone engine shed that one of the members on the ON30 Facebook group for model trains was working on. He put out an APB saying, hey, anybody want to 3D print me some parts? And I jumped right in there going, heck yeah, I'll do that. Anybody who's followed this channel for a long time knows I had a cracking business back in the day on 3D hubs doing that, and there are still some times where I will take on parts like this just for the fun of it, not necessarily because I'm making a ton of money off of it, but because I figure they're a good learning example for people. So when it came to this, I was sent the files. There was a little bit of a mix-up initially on the scaling of it. We got that figured out really quick. No problem. Do note, if you are going to do print for hire, make sure you confirm with the customer the size of the part before you print it. Especially on bigger parts, that can be an issue. All that aside though, this part was relatively easy to print, and as I came in here to film, I realized that the way that I printed this actually was not even the most efficient way possible. When I printed it in the time-lapse, you will notice I had it sitting on the build plate so that the cosmetic surface was facing up, and that required supports here on the back, which was not an issue except for the fact that it made the printing time longer than if I just plopped it flat on the bed like this and printed up. Would have used less filament, but you know what? Hindsight's 20/20. I think it'll still get the job done. Now, as for my pitch for why filament printing in an application like this makes more sense, is it boils down to the time. Even printing this in the not super efficient mode at about 100 millimeters a second program speed, and there were some settings that toned it down a little bit in Simplify 3D, on my Sidewinder X2, I was still able to get this part printed in under an hour and 45 minutes. That's from a cold machine to printing to part finished. So compare that to my friend Mike, who I sent the file to and said, hey, how long would this take on your resin printer? And he said on a Mars 3D printer with an 8-inch build plate that would need to be printed at an angle with supports, you would be looking at 6.5 hours to get one of these printed, and even on a Saturn with a 10-inch build plate laying flat, as I had mentioned, you're looking at about 2 hours and 20 minutes, give or take 10 minutes plus or minus a little bit to wash it off and cure it. Your time may vary. That's just the numbers that he gave me for his workflow. Filament printing this was a whole heck of a lot faster. And to be fair, this part does not have a lot of fidelity built into it, which is perfectly fine. So my case is, I see it all the time, and it's a very valid question. What should I get if I want to get into 3D printing for model trains, resin printing, or filament printing? I'm a filament camp guy. I'm not going to lie. If I need to get things done really nice, I either pay my friend Mike to do it, or I pay Sculpteo, or I pay Shapeways, and they do the work for me. The other thing is, I used to do resin printing back in the day. If you followed the channel for a long time, you'll know I did that. I had to stop, full stop, because I was starting to get sensitized to the resin, and that's something that I feel like doesn't get discussed as much, but just something to keep in mind. So I'll conclude the video with the time lapse of 4 of these bad boys running, and I'd love to know your guys' comments down below. Please keep it civil. I know obviously there is no one-size-fits-all solution to this, but for certain parts, can't be filament printing in my opinion. Alright guys, hope you enjoy, and I'll see you here next time on Make It with Calvin.